What's up, Internet? This is Ninja22. Let's take the time to appreciate the fact that Nintendo only has one console this time around. Only one console to focus all of their resources on and only put games on that console. But before we take time to do that, I just wanted to let you guys know that if you are interested in more discussion videos like this, go ahead and subscribe. I try to make videos like this, maybe not every day, but maybe every other day. So back to the topic. And this is the first time we've seen it in many years. In fact, I think the last time they had one console to only worry about was back when they only had the NES. Then once the Game Boy came out, it was always console, handheld. They had to split all their resources among two different consoles, two really good consoles, well, of course, depending on the generation, but nonetheless, two consoles. Now this time they have one console that does both jobs, and we're actually starting to see games come out for that one particular console, one after the other. They're having so many games. Not only that, but we're starting to see third-party support all over this console. It's crazy. This is something that you would never expect to see for a Nintendo console. Like I said, let's just appreciate that for a moment. And what's better is that Nintendo Switch has so many different ways to play games, and that's in terms of input, output, and even these new cardboard accessories to make the games even more tangible in some regards. It feels like almost any game could potentially come out for that system. And because there's a touchscreen, now any of those smartphone games, any of those iPad games, probably most of them we don't want anyways, but that's beside the point. Any of those games could just come and just find its place on the Switch. Because of how versatile the Nintendo Switch is, the architecture could stay for quite some time and they can just increment it in updates, kind of like what people believe the Nintendo Switch Pro is going to be. And because they use an ARM processor, luckily it can be low powered, which means it'll always have that hybrid element to it. Well, as we see ARM chips getting stronger and stronger, it could also be quite powerful. If this architecture does stay around, and we can see Nintendo Switches carrying all the old software along with it, kind of like how the DS was doing it, then I would like to see more of the older games come to it. I would like to see the Nintendo Switch become the ultimate Nintendo console. In fact, maybe down the line, once they get I want to say like 90% of their games onto the Nintendo Switch, which I'm not 100% they'll do, then they could just swap the name, take out the Switch and call it the Nintendo. And then boom, it's the perfect system. And because it's the only system that they really are pushing their resources for, we can see a lot of stuff coming out for that. In fact, the only console I had trouble imagining a way to make them work was the Nintendo DS itself, the one I mentioned. But if you've taken a look at this Kickstarter that Jeremy Parrish from Retronauts put together, he created this product where you can literally rotate the Nintendo Switch and then attach the Joy-Cons to a different side of the Switch, and now you have an orientation that's much like the older or 80s arcades where the screen is vertical instead of horizontal. Then you can split the screen into two, and then boom, you have two screens. And because the Nintendo Switch has gyro sensors and it has a touch screen, you can pretty much emulate everything that's on the 3DS. By the way, the 3DS I believe is also using an ARM architecture, so porting to it shouldn't be too hard. Or at least I believe so. I'm not 100% in the know, but I think that it might be possible. I've seen ports done on opposite architectures and still done, of course, with a lot of work. But if it's ARM and ARM, then theoretically, I think it should work. Maybe the only console that probably wouldn't get the support would probably be Virtual Boy. But then let's also remember, Nintendo just came out with a little VR headset. So that's pretty much covered. You just build a cardboard Virtual Boy headset and boom, you can emulate that. So after making this video, like, the ideas are just endless. The Nintendo Switch is extremely versatile and can pretty much emulate anything. Hopefully this becomes the ultimate emulation device. Well, anyways, that was my thoughts on this subject. What do you guys think? Does anyone think that Nintendo Switch is extremely versatile, or do you think that it's extremely limited? Once again, if you like videos like this where they're just discussions, go ahead and subscribe. Let me know, what kind of videos would you like to discuss? Leave your comments down below.